gentlemen, the title of today's video is Mastering the Masculine Frame. So, what is the masculine frame and what is the purpose of it? Think of it in terms of a painting, right? The frame is to contain an image. Now, that image is going to be every masculine trait of yours, every masculine habit, and every masculine aspect is held within this frame. Right now, in this frame, there is no femininity, right? There's no high pitched voice, there's no weakness, there's no doubt and anxiety. This is the frame that you present to women when you're dating, and even just in casual social occasions. This is the frame that you present and you uphold. So, the purpose of not showing feminine aspects is to make the woman that you're talking to or seeing or dating feel safe, comfortable, and to draw out her inner feminine. Because the way masculinity and femininity works, it's a balance. So if your traits of femininity, which we all have, if those are on full display and there's no frame and no structure to it, she's going to look at that and respond with masculine traits where she feels that she needs to protect herself. So that's what the purpose of this is to put that balance in perfect harmony and draw out all those feminine traits and not have to deal with masculine traits from women. Argumentativeness, combativeness, all of that. We want to avoid that. You can look at a man that upholds his frame all the time with the same woman and put that woman with another man that doesn't uphold his frame, and there will be two different versions of that woman. So let's get into it. What it takes to build and uphold that frame. Tonality. Tonality is huge. This isn't just for women, this goes for other men. The tonality that you have in your speech communicates a message, a subconscious message. If you're coming with a high pitched voice, this puts people on alert. And it's not a choice, it's subconscious. But when you come in with a smooth, deep toned voice, this is going to make people feel at ease and comfortable, and their guards just come right down. I'm going to throw in a clip from Andrew Huberman discussing this right here, and he gets into the science a little further than I do.
Low frequency sounds of the sort that your voice is, that late night FM DJ voice, are responded to in the brain by neurons, no surprise there, but the frequency that those neurons fire is also low frequency. In other words, when you speak in your low voice,
right,
the other person's brain hears that and starts firing in a low frequency tone.
Right.
In other words, it entrains to your voice, not just the timing, but it's actually like you're essentially playing an emotional piano down in the low keys of their mind. Now, when you go up to the high frequencies, the neurons can't follow that high frequency. So there's something special about low frequency sound that actually changes the emotional tone of the people that hear that low frequency sound.
Okay, so now that we have an understanding on tonality, we need to get into body and posture. Now, these are huge, and any of these aspects that I'm going to talk about today, you can apply these to every other aspect of your life. It doesn't have to be just dating. This comes into play with business, with networking. You need that frame in every aspect of your life. Now, there are times to break this frame. You can't always keep this frame up, and we'll get into that at another time, perhaps another video. So, body and posture. You should always be in shape to handle potential threats. You need to be seen by your woman and by other men as somebody that is not to be messed with. Your posture should always be straight and upright, and it should exude confidence. It should never give off the vibe of weakness. If you look at somebody that is slouched over, they don't have their chest out, their shoulders rounded. They're looking down at at the floor when they're walking by you. What does that tell you? You don't want to be that guy. So, going into body and posture, what also goes hand in hand with that is appearance and hygiene. Now, your appearance and your hygiene portray your mental health. If you had to put your mental health on the outside of your body and show the world what it is, how would you present yourself? Would you just roll out of bed and walk out the door? No. Okay, so stay on top of this. If you have facial hair, keep it maintained. If you have short hair, go for a haircut every 2 weeks at least, right? I recommend if you have shorter hair, get in there once a week. I used to go every Friday when I had shorter hair. You have an image to maintain. You want to give off the best image. Keep up with yourself. Always make sure your breath is fresh as well. Now, this is one thing that is super important. People are going to be up close and personal with you. And especially if you're out on a date, you want your breath to be fresh. Floss, brush your tongue, brush your teeth, mouthwash, and if you have bad breath on the regular, carry mints with you. A little thing that goes into your pocket. Not difficult. So another important part of appearance and hygiene is cologne. You want to have a good scent, a daily driver, something fresh, something sexy. So I would recommend Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. I would recommend Gucci Guilty Black. There's a few of them out there that are fantastic for a daily driver. Now, you should also have a scent to switch it up, some spontaneity. I would recommend something with a little bit of spice to it. Something that I like is Jean Paul Gaultier. It's a fantastic cologne for date nights or just events. Have two, have good ones. Put the time into researching what's a good scent, what's not a good scent. Invest. Colognes aren't cheap. Spend the 150, spend the 200. It'll last you a while. All right. So now we're going to move on to emotions. Now, the only emotions the woman you're dating should see are positive ones: happiness, excitement. To her, you need to be this impenetrable fortress. Nothing can break you, okay? Now, there's going to be times where you need to show disapproval of certain actions and behaviors. So, there will be times that call for frustration or maybe even anger, but your default mode should be unfazed. This is going to allow her to feel extremely safe with you, that you're unfazed by external events. The world cannot knock you down. She'll see this and she'll come to you with her problems. And a big thing that you guys need to understand is your woman is not your therapist. She's not your mommy. Don't go to her with your issues. Don't go complaining about your work day or your family. Oh, I'm so sad. She's not the one. You have friends for that. You should have a male support group that when you're having issues, you can go to your boys and say, I'm having a really hard time right now. That is what your boys are for. Go to them when you're having an issue, right? Because we all have times of weakness and times that we need to vent and express how we feel, and sometimes even times where we need to cry. Your woman should see none of this. Go to your boys. Now, let's talk about drawing her in, okay? You have a space as a man, okay? You never want to leave your space to enter her space, okay? So if you're out at an event and someone's taking pictures, maybe, you draw her in. You hold your posture, grab her by the lower waist, bring her into your space. You want to hug her a kiss, or she wants a hug and a kiss, you pull her into your space. If you're tall like I am, if you're over 6 foot, you might need to even lean down a little bit. But you bring her in as much as humanly possible. Only then do you budge and move down. It's as simple as that. I'm going to put some pictures up here where you can see guys leaving their space to enter their woman's space. And it's body language. Now, some people might look at this and say, oh, this is nonsense. It's not nonsense. Okay, availability. Let's talk about that, right? If you're always available for her, you're signaling neediness and desperation. If you're sitting there texting her all day, seeing her 4 or 5 times a week, you're needy. You're desperate, and you can't spend time by yourself. You are not focused on your mission. Now, this is different when it comes to people that are married. If you're a husband, this is different. But when you're dating, your availability should not be more than once a week in person. When you're texting, you should not be texting all day. If you want to have a conversation, pick up the phone and call. A half hour, maybe an hour, like if you really like this girl. For every 3 texts that she sends you, send one back. Don't mirror her texts. I see a lot of guys mess up when it comes to this. She'll be texting all cute, hi, with like 5 eyes, an emoji. You better not text back high with multiple eyes. Don't do it. Mirroring comes in handy, but not when it comes to dating. You do not want to mirror her behavior. You want her to mirror your behavior in certain times, right? You don't want her to always be mirroring your behavior. But do not. That like not only does that give them what we call the ick, me just talking about it gives me the ick. Don't do it. So the purpose of this, right? And now you can hear this and be like, oh, this is ridiculous. The purpose of it is to create that desire and maintain that attraction. This comes in handy short term and long term. You're seeing a girl for months on end, you're seeing a girl for a year or 2 years. These things still come into play. If you're available all the time for her, right? Say you start out, you see this girl 6 months, right? 6 months in, you start becoming available all the time. You start texting her all the time. She's gonna look at that and she's gonna start to lose that desire and that attraction because you're constantly there, right? Think of the guys that are in her DMs every day. What you doing? This, that, constantly just DMing and DMing all the time, always there. What makes you different if you're always available? What sets you apart? Absolutely nothing. So uphold that availability. This is a huge aspect of the masculine frame that you need to uphold and you need to implement this if you're not already implementing it. So that's a wrap for now. Keep it sexy, keep it fun, let the sparks fly, observe the changes, and watch how women respond when you uphold this masculine frame. Watch how you get the best out of the woman you're seeing when you uphold this. And watch what happens when you break it. You'll see. So, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support, and I would even more appreciate it if you could do something. Like, dislike, subscribe, comment, do something. We're still in the early stage of this channel. So your support will help us grow. Thank you.